Hey guys, welcome to another Alpha M Project video. And this video is going to be a little bit different. The reason is that I'm going to conduct an interview with one of my friends. And the reason I'm doing it is because it's a real rags to riches story. It's the story of Steve Matrangas, a poor little Greek boy. Alright, it's a little dramatic, but seriously, it's a great story. And in my opinion, there are two types of people in the world. When you hear about somebody's success, they're the people that either are jealous of them and are hating on them and are mad at them for being successful. And then there are the Alpha M's, like us. We don't hate on them. We want to learn from them. And so basically, anytime I can listen to somebody who is successful, tell me how they did it, what some of the struggles they had going, after their dreams, or some of the roadblocks or stumbling blocks, I think that you can learn a lot from other people's mistakes, other people's successes. And so I thought today I'm going over to help Steve get fitted for a custom shirt. I figured it would be a perfect opportunity to take my camera, sit down with him, and figure out how he did what he did and let you get a better idea and understanding of the man behind the deck building business. And we are here. Steve's house, not a bad little pad if I do say so myself. And I think I see the man. And no mogul would be complete without his trusty sidekick, Dex.
Dex.
Oh. So Steve, tell us about the house. How long you been here?
Been here about 12 years. It's a house that my wife really wanted as her dream house. We used to live about a mile from here, and we found this piece of property, and I built it myself, not with my own two hands, but as the general contractor, and we love it, and we'll probably be here from now on.
Steve's a big woodworker, and this is his shop. This is also his 76
Ford Bronco.
76 Ford Bronco, fully restored. This is the baddest ride ever. Another one of Steve's toys is the, what kind of Harley?
It's a Screaming Eagle Electra Glide.
Excellent. And next to it is the fully restored, what year?
1970 Volkswagen Carmen Ghia.
Steve is an old hippie from way back.
Dude.
Hey guys, alright, we're here sitting down with Steve Matrangas, my friend and owner of Deck Source. And Steve, I was telling the guys before I got here a little bit about you, that it was sort of a great rags to riches story, what you've sort of accomplished in your life, and we're doing a series on basically how to be better men. And I think that it's always a good idea as men to be able to gain insight from people that have been there, done that, and have experienced both tough times as well as the prosperous times. And so I thought it'd be a great opportunity for you sort of to tell me again and tell these guys sort of what happened. Where did it all start, and what lessons would you basically give them, for a young guy or even an older guy who's wanting to basically start out and do his own thing? Where did it start, Steve?
Well, let's go back about 25 years ago. I was working in the restaurant industry. I was working for a man who owned about 6 restaurants, and I was sort of a regional type manager where I...
long hours?
Long hours, about 70, 80 hours a week.
Good money?
No, terrible money. By today's standards, it would be horrible. I had 2 young children, 2 young girls, and a wife. I worked nights every night, never saw my girls grow up. My wife, I'd see her in the mornings when she took off to go to her teaching job, and girls would be asleep and I'd be asleep when they came in.
So basically you were working to support them, but it wasn't any type of quality of life. There was no, basically you wouldn't see them. You weren't being able to be a father to your daughters and a husband to your wife.
That's exactly right. As you mentioned, my quality of life was horrible. At the time...
let me interrupt. And that's one thing that I really like to stress to you guys, is that quality of life is paramount to everything else. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how much prestige or success you have. If you're not happy, I mean, really, this life, you get one chance at it, and happiness is ultimately what it comes down to. It doesn't matter if you're making $5 an hour, if you are really in love with the job that you're actually doing. But Steve, you weren't in love with the job you were doing, so please continue.
Well, I'll tell you the little story that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I was 40 years old. I had a dear close friend. He was actually the first person I ever knew who was also 40 years old. He had his own business where he was actually did sound work for bands. He was doing Hank Williams Jr. at the time. And he was on a treadmill one morning, and when he stepped off of it, he dropped over dead.
40 years old.
40 years old, and I was 40 years old at the time. So I went to his funeral, and the pastor that was officiating made the comment that Kirk really loved what he did and that he had a wonderful life and this and that. And I looked at my wife and I said, you know, if that was me in that casket, he'd be lying, or he wouldn't even be able to say that, because I'm absolutely miserable and I can't stand what I'm doing. And so we made a decision at that point, me and my wife, that we were going to start thinking about something else to do. So we had a vacation coming up. We walked up and down the beach. We joke about how we probably walked 10 miles during vacation to talk about this, but we made the decision when we got back that I was going to get back into the construction business. I had sort of dabbled in it before this, and so I quit my job. We had discussion with the kids that Christmas may be terrible that year and years to follow, that we didn't know how much money we were going to make.
But you made the hard decision that so many people have a difficult time. They get so caught up, and we get so caught up as a society of paying the bills. Not that you're not going to pay your bills, but you get so consumed with the rat race that you can't ever you're too scared, and the fear is almost paralyzing to keep you from moving forward. But you realized through a friend dying that it was time to make a decision, to make a change. And that was what enabled you to sort of get over that hurdle of that fear of the unknown.
That's correct. So I quit my job. I called some contacts that I had in the construction business prior to that. I was ready to do just about anything, from a laborer to whatever I needed to do to get something coming in. I was fortunate enough that I was introduced to a company that needed somebody to build decks for them.
Had you built decks prior to this?
Well, yes, I had a little bit of knowledge about it. So,
but on a scale of 1 to 10 knowledge.
Yeah, nothing like I do now, I'll put it that way. I knew how to put one together. In those days, the rules weren't quite as strict as they are now.
Now, so, you know, back then you could have decks falling over and people dying, no big deal.
Yeah, nobody cared.
Slap on the wrist. Anyway, all right, Steve, keep going.
So I went and met with this company. It was a national builder, but I got one subdivision. I started working. It was just me. Every night I was on the phone calling somebody, can you come out and help me hold the other end of this board while I build this deck? And I was in one subdivision, and it was, you know, 1 or 2 decks a week. A young man that was at the restaurant with me came to work for me hourly. He didn't know anything. I taught him everything I knew, which wasn't a whole lot at the time. And long story short, fast forward about 6 years of hard work and hiring some people and making some right decisions and doing what I loved doing. I absolutely loved it. Every day I'd come home, I'd be the happiest person in the world. At the heyday, I had 45 builders I was working for. We had 15 crews. We made it quite a success, and I'm very proud of it. And people sometimes say it was luck. Well, you know, luck is something that
we don't believe in luck at Alpha M, or I Am Alpha M. And this is the prime example of, you know, you come up, every great success starts with an idea, and usually that great idea comes from a hard experience or something tough. But the people that make it, the people that succeed, basically can push down far enough that fear of the unknown and those nagging voices in your mind that say you can't do it, you won't succeed, you won't fail. You say, hell with that, I'm going to do it. And so Steve is a prime example, and I thought that it would be a great opportunity to sit down with somebody that is successful to basically keep reiterating the fact that, guys, if you want something bad enough, you've got to go out and do it. If you're not happy doing what you're doing, be smart about it, but start making and preparing plans to move outside of that and do something that you absolutely love. So, Steve, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for sitting down with us, guys. Talk to you next time.